out there, Instagram.
Hey guys, how you doing? We got a few questions that came through from you lot. So same as we did last week, we're going to try and nail them. But today we've set ourselves a bit of a challenge to do it in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
As long as no one asks anything about Gordon Ryan, JT can keep a lid on it.
All right, I'll just be quiet then. Guys, first question coming from our good friend H Jiu-Jitsu. Should I warm up if doing mobility / stretching first thing in the mornings, like warming up before doing it? Q-Joe.
All right, so do you think he's saying, or they're saying, warm up before doing mobility, or are they saying, should I warm up for jiu-jitsu if I've already done stretching in the morning?
Should I warm up if doing mobility stretching first thing in the morning? Let's answer both to that. Like, do you get your body warm before you do mobility? Or if you've already done it in the morning, do you need to do it before jits?
All right, so here's my opinion on in brief. If you feel fine to start doing some stretching, whether dynamic or static, first thing in the morning, then do it. However, if you wake up and you don't feel fine, like you feel a bit tight, a bit boxed in, then you need a warm up. And what I would say in Australia or in New South Wales, in summertime, you can pretty much get out of bed and just get moving.
You're warm. But
in winter, you get out, you're cold. So I'm usually going to do a 5-minute kind of warm up. Maybe it's some joint rotations, some arm swings, some squats, push-ups just to get the blood moving, and then I get into the mobility.
Yeah, I'm going to recommend always mobility in the morning. It doesn't matter what's going on. I just start easy. And then, yeah, I mean, look, if you feel good before class, okay, that's fine. But there's plenty of things that can happen from when you first get up, from when you go to jiu-jitsu. So if you can fit in like 2 little bits, do that. All right, so we've got our guy, Aaron Morgan. We're just having a look here. Just asking for some tips. Any tips to develop explosive hips? Ooh, hip thrust. Also, where do I get one of those fight lift move shirts? Got to join Jungle Brothers, bruh.
Got to be a member of the tribe, mate. All right, the Fight Lift Move shirt that's from the gym here that we train at. So you can get them, junglebrothers.com. Jump on, you can hook it up there. In terms of the tips to develop explosive hips, yeah, we got some tips. Mm-hmm. Look, the basis of developing power is you need to move fast. So you want explosive type work, which means low repetitions. And generally, you're going to need heavy loads.
Yes.
So we're talking like Olympic lifting type variations.
Definitely.
Right? Maybe even a real heavy kettlebell.
Kettlebell swing. I think kettlebell swing is like the plyometric move for hip extension. And then you can look at even hopping. Like, if you got no weight, like just one leg, hop as high as you can. That's about as good as you can get for glute and hip extension.
And broad jumps.
Broad jumps, yeah.
Yeah, I think like if you don't have access to any weights, it's all the jumping variations. Broad jumps, hopping, single leg bounds, all the different kind of drills you can find around that. And we can share some. But then yeah, if you got some weight, make it heavy, do low repetitions and fast explosive reps.
Yes, sir. Now, we've got our person, Real Redders. I do not know if this is a guy or a lady. I don't assume. Real Redders has asked us, what's better, strength and rolling same day with like more rest days, or breaking it up, rolling one day, strength the other day, etc., etc. For me personally, I like to do strength in the morning before I roll. So if I can roll at lunch or roll later, then that's ideally what I would do, and then have like potentially a complete day of rest. But this is really down to you guys. It's like, what can you fit in? You might only have time to get to the gym that day and lift, or you might only have time to roll. Your take, Joseph.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters as long as across the week you're getting adequate recovery in. So then it comes down to what your schedule's like. If it turns out that you do it on the same day and you have a big rest the next day, great. Or the opposite, if you do a little bit each day, that's also great. It's really what works for you. Make sure you're recovering.
Yes, sir. Okay. B Jensen Fit 33.
Fuck yeah, that's the username.
Yeah, great. That's exactly what we need. Top 5 strength-based exercises. Finish the gym for BJJ.
For the gym, I guess.
Perhaps.
Autocorrect.
It's a mother. So top 5 strength-based exercises for the gym. Now we have gone through different moves, but let's talk specifically about lifting, not just body weight.
Yeah, okay. So for the lifting side of things, single leg deadlift.
Single leg deadlift and get up.
Bottoms up press.
Bottoms up press. we'd say a pull-up or a heavy pull of some description?
Yeah, some kind of heavy pull. If you got body weight pull-up variations, great. If you don't, then if you don't have a pull-up bar, then maybe it's a bent over row variation with a kettlebell or a barbell.
Or pendlay row.
Pendlay row, love it. Yeah. And then we've got our squat work, which is really, for us, we like the single leg stuff. So pistol squat, shrimp squat, any variations along that line of training.
And if you want to do a barbell back squat, make sure your form is good. That's where people tend to fall down. We've all seen it. People are trying to do the right thing because a back squat's great, but because hip flexors are tight or ankles are tight, their range is limited, and it's kind of not the quality we want to see.
Yeah, I would say if you're doing weighted squats, that for most people, a split squat or a Bulgarian split squat is going to be a better choice over a back squat. And I say that for most people because most people have pretty shitty mobility.
And imbalances.
Exactly. And so the split squat's going to help to weed that out and also allow you to get the best quality work done without sacrificing your lower back.
Nice. All right, moving on. The BJJ coach. Very good. The one and only. What are the best exercises to unlock tight wrists?
The first question we got to ask is, why are your wrists so fucking tight? What have you been doing?
Questionable. I'm gonna say trap fist press.
Do you follow Craig Jones?
I think trap fist press is number one, guys, and that's where we're making sure we get a close hand, we're locking it down to the ground, and then we're working through extension in the elbow. This is a dramatic stretch for the top half of the forearm, not the flexor carpi, the extensor muscles through here, and most people can't even do it. So just being able to keep your hand closed, because naturally the fibers will want to open up, and extending the elbow. That's my favorite.
Yeah, great. And then second to that, which would be a really nice complement, would just be stretching wrist extension, which would just be going this way. And so you can just put your hands on the ground, both hands, and then hang out. I'm pretty mobile there, so I can do it kind of on the couch here. But getting a mix of those two, you're going to hit both sides of the elbow and the wrist, and it's going to be a great start. Also, if you go to our story highlights exercises, you'll find at least 3 videos in there that give you a bunch of different exercises for the wrists.
Yes, indeed. So we have Namastrama. What role should anti-inflammatories play in recovery? None. Bam. Anti-inflammatories slow down the healing process. I tell you this as somebody who used to take a lot of Voltaren. So, but what they have shown, guys, whether it's a ligament issue like a torn ligament or a broken bone or even muscle healing, whether it's ibuprofen, Voltaren, any anti-inflammatory actually slows the healing process. So even at the time it will feel better, so you're like, oh, I feel better, I can function, I can walk around, unless it's like actual joint trauma, like you've had surgery or whatever it might be. If it's simply like a ligament strain, a torn muscle, or hardcore DOMS, anti-inflammatories dissolve your gut lining and actually slow the healing process. So yeah, unless it's surgery level inflammation, it's just joint trauma, that kind of thing, it will actually heal faster if you just cop that without the anti-inflammatories.
I got a slightly different view on it, though I totally agree with everything JT said. I do think there's occasions where sometimes the acute nature of an injury can fuck with other things like your sleep, and if it means that taking anti-inflammatories, say for 1 or 2 days, allows you just to kind of circumvent or like shortcut through that acute phase to the point where you're getting some good rest and you can now sort of get back into the gym and do a bit of rehab work, I think that's okay, and I do use it that way for myself on occasion. So I should
draw a line here and say painkiller's not the same.
Yeah, but I do like Voltaren as a painkiller kind of thing, even though it's an anti-inflam.
Sure.
I do find sometimes, like if I've had like a thing, take the Voltaren, the thing's gone, and then it means I can work on it.
Sure.
So I think both sides of the coin there are important to consider. One thing we can definitely agree on is that you shouldn't be leaning on those sorts of drugs regularly, because they're just going to allow you to sort of never really address whatever the underlying issue is.
True. Good luck with your associated injury. Now we've got Marty Glacken. Let's have a look at what Marty's got to say. Marty said, been drilling guillotines, darces, headlocks, etc. all month. What's best for neck recovery?
Probably play tennis, don't do jiu-jitsu.
That's tough.
That stuff will fuck you up. We got to acknowledge you're spending huge amounts of time in these fucking horrible positions. Squeeze, shoulders getting all fucked up, neck, upper back. You got to be doing some basic mobility work around those areas, right?
Yes. And the other thing is too, guys, like whether we're doing guillotines or getting guillotined, the natural response is to like tighten up to protect the neck, right? So we actually have to spend a little bit of time opening that back out. If you're not doing any kind of self-therapy, like working in there, like loosening up, doing mobility through the neck and also the chest, guys, because that's another thing too. When you start to tighten up through the traps, shoulders come forward too, you get this hunched posture, trying to protect your neck. The problem is you spend too much time there, it actually starts to become painful. So you actually got to spend a bit of time opening it back out and trying to get those muscles to relax. Getting some manual therapy is helpful, but then also a little bit of heat cream can help as well. So if you're trying to get some blood flow in there to get those tissues to chill, a bit of deep heat, some people like Tiger Balm, just around the affected tissues can actually make a difference in helping that recover.
Yeah, Voltaren's a great choice. Painkillers,
What are you talking about? It's the opposite. This guy, I'm talking about stimulating blood flow. He's talking about killing it. So
hey, we're all here for the blood flow. But that's a really good point. And I guess that's more of a global view of jiu-jitsu is whether it's your neck getting fucked up from drilling front headlock things, or it's your hips getting fucked up from drilling a bunch of guard, or it's your lower back getting fucked up from doing a bunch of stack passing that month or that week. You have to have a regular strength and mobility practice, something that you go to at least every kind of couple of days, so that you are just maintaining these areas and not allowing something to get all bunched up without getting addressed.
Yep. All right, very good. Last but not least, our guy, Scott-tastic. Older BJJ enthusiasts recently informed I have bad arthritis in my feet. Help, tips on staying rolling. Well, I can speak to this. I broke one of the bones of my feet back in the day when I did Taekwondo. And, I definitely feel like an old man because if it's a really cold morning, I wake up and I'm like, the rains are coming, Ma. I can feel it in my foot, my arthritic bone in my foot. I feel you. What I'd say is this, rolling out your feet is actually really key. It's something that when I don't do it, I notice the tension in my Achilles and my ankle mobility goes down. Like I'll go to pistol and I'll feel like, oh man, I'm gonna fall over. And I'm like, why is that? Like what's going on? Straight away, I just spend 1 or 2 minutes on each foot and it just changes what's going on with my ankles. And what I'd say to you is like, it's super key that like, if you're just walking around in shoes every day, your feet are just bunched up like this, getting those feet rolled out and actually spending some time opening up through your toes will actually make a difference in the circulation and the function of your feet. Joseph?
I totally agree, and I think that you should try to adopt as much of a barefoot lifestyle as possible. So the less you can be wearing shoes, the more your feet can express themselves the way they were designed to, rather than being stifled by these foot gloves that we wear.
Yes.
And that's just going to help to keep your feet healthy. So a bit of soft tissue work, bit of regular maintenance, and being barefoot is going to be the answer there.
For sure.
There was a couple of questions. I saw Big Bobby Sandu came through with one. Let me just go back to the beginning, see if I've missed any here.
For sure. Thank you for joining us this morning, by the way, guys. We appreciate you tuning in.
Oh, God. What's going on? Here we go. Bobby Sandu. What did he ask? He asked... this doesn't scroll very well.
There's a few people saying, hey, we miss jiu-jitsu, and we do too.
Yeah, feel ya. Bobby asked, what's better, front squat or low bar back squat for BJJ?
It's got to be front squat for range, right? But low bar's limited. Let me say my piece. Low bar back squat is designed for like maximum load for powerlifters. So they shorten the lever, the bar's further down your back, and you're trying to get limited range of motion. When you do a front squat, and look, I'll be honest, my range of motion at my wrist is kind of shitty. My front rack is not perfect. I'll admit that. That said,
you heard it here first, guys.
God, we do have flaws. When you put that weight at the front, it actually enables you to go deeper into the squat, even though you might not be able to go as heavy. And you actually have to work way harder through your anterior core piece. Deeper squat is a better squat. I'm going to say my choice would be a front squat over a low bar back squat.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I love front squats personally, always worked well for me, and yeah, more range out of it. The only time I'd say any kind of back squat would be better is if maybe you had a really weak posterior chain.
Sure.
So like the glutes were like the weak spot for you, then it'd be like, well, you're going to get less glute work in a front squat, so go for any back squat variation, just as an extra thing to think about.
Yeah, Bobby, you need to work that booty, son.
Yeah, bro. Bro, I can only imagine. He's like Hightower.
He's like 6'5".
Yeah, like that would take him like 30 seconds to get
do
like,
one
yeah. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you again next week.
See you guys.